Hey, what's going on, Seminole Nation? Hope all is well. We're in the midst of our preseason positional breakdowns. We already went over quarterback, running back, and receiver. If you guys haven't caught that video, go ahead and tap into it and get caught with the speed. Now we're going to go into the pass catchers. When I say the pass catchers, I'm going to do a combination video of the wide receivers and the tight ends. But before we get started, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the Dope Talk community if you haven't. Hit that like button. It's football season. Go ahead and subscribe to one of the best FSU podcasts, in my opinion. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like and subscribe. And last thing as well, too, little house cleaning. Make sure you guys grab your tailgate ticket. Grab your tailgate ticket ASAP for this Alabama game. I'm telling you, it's going to be a star-studded event. As you guys know, this is the first home game of the season, the first game in the newly renovated Doak Campbell Stadium, playing against the Alabama Crimson Tide. What more do you want? Myself, James Coleman, former FSU fullback, and Peter Ward, former All-World FSU wide receiver, robbed of the Heisman Trophy, but that's a different story for a different day. We're all going to be hosting the tailgate. Make sure you guys grab your ticket. $65, all you can eat, all you can drink. We're going to have barbecue, seafood, you name it. We're also going to be streaming the games throughout the day in case you don't have, the 12 o'clock game and, of course, the Florida State-Alabama game at 3:30 if you guys don't have a ticket. I know ticket prices are pretty high right now. No worry. We got you covered. All things included, $65. I come hang with some former FSU legends and myself, of course. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Just want to speak about the pass catches for a minute, a combination of wide receivers and tight ends, just to give you guys a glimpse of what we have going into fall camp. Not going to cover every single body, but just some names I feel like you guys should be aware of on different sides of the spectrum. Let's go ahead and start off with the wide receiver. Wide receivers. The first receiver I want to speak about, of course, is Deuce Robinson, 6'6", 220, transfer wide receiver from the University of Southern California. Was a five-star wide receiver in the transfer portal and in the high school ranks. And if the name sounds familiar, his dad is, of course, former FSU player. Everyone remembers the Chris Ricks to PK Sam Hail Mary go ahead touchdown in the swamp. But you guys also, I guess most FSU fans also remember there was a 4th and 14 that was converted on that drive by Chris Ricks, and he completed the pass to Robinson. We'll get it. So just speaking about Deuce himself, Mike Norvell speaks very highly of Deuce and the work ethic that he has brought to the table. Also, new FSU cornerback Jeremiah Wilson stated that Deuce Robinson is the hardest working receiver he's seen in his career thus far. Who, he's had stops at Syracuse and Houston as well before coming to FSU for his last stop for his senior year. He spoke highly of Deuce also. But just the tea leaves I've been reading, he's in track for a dominant year. He's going to be receiver one. He's very tough to guard, 6'6", but he moves very well and he's extremely athletic for his frame, can make tough catches. I think he's going to be a big-time playmaker for FSU within this offense. If the run game is as good as I anticipated to be, I think our receivers are going to get a lot of one-on-one matchups down the field, and I feel like that could be an advantage for FSU with the weapons they have on the outside. The next receiver I want to discuss is another transfer, the Squirrel White from Tennessee. Big-time dynamic playmaker, over 100 catches, over 2,000 career receiving yards. Total for Squirrel White. Speed. I'm talking about a kid that can stretch the field. If you look at the tape he had at Tennessee, he was a dominant receiver as far as stretching the field. Makes a lot of plays down the field. I'm sorry, not 2,000 yards, 1,600 career receiving yards. 1,600 career receiving yards, 131 receptions, along with 6 touchdowns. His best year came a couple years ago at 67 catches, 803 yards, 34 catches, 400 yards last year by battling some injuries. So I think he's the perfect complement to what we have in Deuce Robinson. He's a scorer to take the top of the field. He's a guy that can get the long ball, deep ball threat, which we like which Gus likes within his offense. And he's also a guy that could turn a 5-yard gain into a 40 to 50-yard, maybe even a touchdown gainer just by his playmaking ability and sure speed. So he is healthy. He was a little nicked up during spring practice. He has been healthy over the summer, and the reviews have been very positive in what Squirrel White has been outputting. So really excited to see what Squirrel brings to the table for FSU. Next receiver I want to speak about is quite a surprise and a kid that FSU got out of the transfer portal for the spring window, Gavin Blackwell, receiver transfer from North Carolina who's battled injuries within the last few years. He's a guy that to watch out for playing time as well. It's been, how can I put this? Has been positive reviews as well coming out of summer camp. Well, not summer camp, summer workouts rather, in regards to the work ethic he's been putting in and just his route running ability and the ability to make some type of catches. So he's the type of player that's going to try to insert himself within the lineup for FSU rotation, get some reps. We'll see how it could play out, but he could be a pleasant surprise for FSU within a receiver room. A pleasant surprise. We'll see how it plays out. But there's been positive reviews so far for Blackwell, which I'm kind of shocked about myself. So we'll see how things progress in fall camp once practice actually starts. Now, this is another name that's been standing out, but I'm not surprised by it at all. And kind of foresee it once he enrolled at FSU, and that's a true freshman four-star receiver from the high school ranks, JaVon Bogs. He continues to impress. He's probably one of the best high school receivers from a production standpoint to come out of the state of Florida in a long time. This kid is a dynamic playmaker. When I say dynamic, you don't get these type of players too damn often from a production standpoint. He won Mr. Florida his junior year. Impressive numbers within the last 2 years of playing football, varsity football. He has 192 catches. Yeah, these numbers are absurd. So just bear with me. 192 catches, 3,626 receiving yards, and 48 touchdowns within the last 2 years of varsity football. His junior and senior season, he put together crazy numbers. Like I said, his junior year, he won Mr. Florida. He's the Cocoa High School. Shout out to Cocoa itself, man. They've won 3 straight state championships. He's been a part of that. This past season in the state semifinals, he had 17 catches, 378 yards. I'm gonna repeat that one more time. He had 17 catches, 378 yards, which is a state record. Broke the state record this past season for most receiving yards in the game, 378 yards, and it came at the most, I guess you could say, important time that it could come during the state semifinals. So he's a big time playmaker, and he steps up in the biggest moments when the lights are the brightest. He also had 3 touchdowns within that game as well. But just speaking about what he's done since he got into FSU, enrolled early in spring practice, and it's pretty much he hasn't missed a beat from high school. Made a lot of plays for FSU, was a lot of glowing reviews in regards to the work ethic and what he's been doing in spring practice. And that has just carried over to the summer. He's been very consistent, standing out in the summer workouts as well. I don't foresee that change within the fall camp. This kid, Boggs, is the truth. He's going to be a dynamic playmaker for FSU down the line in his career. Is going to be a big time playmaker. But even for the 2025 season, I don't even want to speak about the future for this kid. He has a chance to start for FSU right now. He keeps chipping away and stacking up good days. He has a very good opportunity to not only play for FSU and get some reps, but actually start. So we'll see how things play out with JaVon Bogs. He's been a welcome addition, a pleasant surprise thus far. Late get for FSU in the signing period for the 2025 class, but proven to be one of the crown jewels of that class already. Next, we're going to speak about a couple second-year receivers that are going to try to make their mark. They're blue chip receivers within their own right, but now they're trying to. They redshirted last year. Now it's time to step up and actually put things together and start making plays for FSU. You had last year as far as a development year, and of course that was a rough ass year for everyone. But it was a development year trying to get the speed of the game and how things go. Now it's time to put that talent on display. That talent that we were very excited about for that receiver class once they committed a few years ago. First receiver is LaWayne McCoy. Like I said, sophomore year, big time playmaker, dynamic playmaker for Miami. We'll see what he could put together. BJ Gibson. This is a kid that was pretty impressive in the spring with the limited reps he did have. When I say limited reps, he was juggling playing baseball and football for FSU as well. Dynamic two-way player for FSU. We have another two-way player we're going to speak out as well too. So if you play 2 sports, FSU is the place for you. We'll let you do it here. I had to throw my little recruiting pitch in there. But BJ Gibson is a kid that's going into his second year. He's going to look to make a stamp within the rotation as well. Michai Danzy transitioned from the running back position to the receiver position. Speed. If you guys know Michai Dancy, he's one of the fastest players in college football. He was the fastest. At one point in time, he had the national lead for the 400-meter dash before it ended up hurting his hamstring before nationals in the track and field season. Dynamic playmaker. When I say, and he has the receiver build as it is, around 6'1", 190 pounds. So transitioning from running back to receiver shouldn't be an issue. Going back to watching his film at Florida High, he did a lot of things in regards to catching the ball as well too. Dynamic speed, one of the fastest players in the country, the fastest player on FSU's team, Michai Danzy. He put the ball in his hands, and explosive things will happen. Going into a second year, so we'll see how things pan out. This is the receiver I was most excited about going from that recruiting class, that 2024 recruiting class from a receiver standpoint. Elijah Moore, standing at 6'4", 206 pounds. I'm very high on this kid. You're talking about a dynamic playmaker. When I say dynamic, this kid uber athletic, can make all the catches, contested catches, circus catches, whatever you call it. 6'4" frame, runs very well, pretty fluid. Good job running his routes. FSU was in a heated battle with Ohio State to land the commitment of Elijah Moore, who was out of Maryland down the stretch. So that shows you the type of caliber receiver he is if the Ohio State Buckeyes won him. So I'm looking for him to put it all together and try to make, well, not necessarily try to make some, but put that talent on display this year for FSU and become a staple within the rotation. And last, these are two true freshmen who enrolled at FSU that will be trying to put their hat in for playing time. Two big body receivers that we got, 6'4" and 6'5". Excuse me. You have Teriq Mallory from the Connecticut and Tashawn Gesley from the Jacksonville area. Both big body receivers that will try to make their stint for FSU within their true freshman year. All right. We discussed the wide receivers. Let's go ahead and transition over to the other pass catchers that will be making waves for FSU this season. That's the tight end position. But again, before we get going, hit that like button if you haven't. I want to remind you guys real quick, it takes 2 seconds to show some love. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to the Dope Talk community. I know you may have forgotten. It's okay. You get wrapped up within the video and all the juice that's being spoken about. But go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Appreciate you guys. All right, the tight end position. The first I want to speak about is Randy Pittman. This name may sound familiar to FSU for the recruiting circles. As you guys may remember, he was committed to FSU at a certain point during his recruitment, then ended up flipping to UCF down the stretch from the Panama City area. So we end up, I guess you could say, full circle, so to speak, as far as Randy transferring to FSU and actually being a part of the Nole Nation and being enrolled and being a tight end for the Seminoles. Transferred from UCF, played under Gus Malzahn, really familiar with the offense, made a lot of plays for Gus Malzahn during his time at UCF. 51 catches, 631 yards, and 3 touchdowns within his 2 years at UCF. Can be used in a multitude of ways. H-back, tight end, out of the back, whatever you want to, however you want to use this kid in the rounds. Randy Pittman is a playmaker. You put the ball in his hands, let him do his thing. Simple as that. So I really am excited for the skill set Randy Pittman brings to the tight end room, along with the other tight ends. I want to give a shout out to tight ends coach Chris Thompson, too. Of course, the deputy. He's done a hell of a job of building that room, man. Some really dynamic, exciting playmakers. Combination of a lot of different traits. Yeah, we have Randy Pittman, really dynamic playmaker that can do a lot of things. I was really intrigued with the way Gus used him at UCF. Hopefully, we could transition that to Florida State, and he could be a big-time playmaker for the Seminoles. Landen Thomas going into his true sophomore year. As you guys remember, he was the 5-star recruit that FSU ended up flipping from the University of Georgia. Big dynamic playmaker that has a lot of potential. Showed some of that potential last year within the limited reps he did play in. As you guys know, Cal Moore, the starting tight end last year, struggled a lot with drops, and that opened the window for some of the younger tight ends to make some plays. And Landen Thomas was one of those tight ends. I think his first big time game in which he actually played. I want to say he started against Clemson, if I'm not mistaken, and he was one of the bright spots within that Clemson game. So he showed a lot of flashes throughout his true freshman year. Hopefully, we want to build on that, and he could be a staple within the pass game and become the dynamic playmaker we know he could be as we recruited him out of high school. Really excited what Landen Thomas could do in year 2 of the offense. Just need to gain some more weight and get more confident. And this is another big time tight end that we got from the recruiting front. Went all the way to Nebraska to land this tight end, and went to the home state and beat out the Nebraska Cornhuskers for a player from Nebraska. That doesn't happen too often, but Chase Lofton was definitely worth the fight and effort for that recruiting battle. I'm talking about this kid can ball. Sitting at 6'6", 220 pounds. He's a dude, dynamic playmaker to say the least. He's a matchup nightmare. He's athletic. He can move. He can run. He can make contested catches. Um, Chase Lofton, he's very dynamic. Looking at this high school film, and I love what I saw that transition over to FSU in spring practice, as he was a welcome addition and made some surprising catches. And to be quite honest, caught the attention of the FSU coaching staff in regards to what he could do and the potential he has. He can line up out wide and split him out as a wide receiver. Chase is going to be a big time matchup nightmare for FSU. You typically have those elite Midwest tight ends that go to Penn State, Iowa, Wisconsin at times. Teams like that. Chase Lofton fits that bill. Really excited what he can do for FSU. I think he's going to play a lot this year. The only thing he needs to do is, of course, bulk up, as he is a true freshman. He's 6'6", 220, but he's a 6'6" slender frame. He's long. The kid is long. He could easily carry 240, 245 without a question. So I want to see Chase Lofton bulk up over the years. But for FSU right now, I think he could be a dynamic playmaker and bring some things to the table. The last name I want to discuss, and this is a familiar name for FSU, and that's Markeston Douglas, 6'5", 270-pounder. Originally signed with FSU, then ended up transferring to Arizona State with Coach Dillingham for this past season. Elected to come back home to FSU for his final season. He brings a wealth of experience to the room, a leadership standpoint that we don't really have. So we have that, and also he's 6'5", 270. So FSU runs a lot of 12 personnel. 12 personnel is one running back, two tight ends. One running back, two tight ends. This kind of coaching guys up with football one-on-one. 21 personnel is what you typically see sometimes in the I-back formation. Two backs, one tight end. Two backs, one tight end, and 21. 12 personnel is one back, two tight ends. FSU likes to run a lot of 12 personnel, and Markeston Douglas could be another extra blocker within that 12 personnel scheme. And also, we've seen 6'5", 270, but Biscuit doesn't move like a 6'5", 270 type of player. He has trimmed down at one point. He was like 285 at FSU, but he's 270 now. But Biscuit has some get up, and he could show some escapability for a guy his size. So to bring that experience back to the tight end room would be good in regards to the combination of young but uber talent that we have within the tight end room already, with Landen Thomas, Chase Lofton, and of course Randy Pittman going into his junior year. So I like the combination of skill sets and talent and youth and veteran experience within the tight end room. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything puts together. I think we pretty much have a lot of pieces to the puzzle on offense to be competent, but of course it all starts with the offensive line, and of course Thomas Castellano being consistent in playing, and the rest should be butter moving on out. All right, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel one more time. Going to transition over to the defense, my favorite part of the ball, and see what Tony White has to offer with his playmakers on that side. Like and subscribe. Go Noles.